Hmm. So I mean, we left with a few concepts, right? So we left with Hibernate, object states and different methods. Okay, the difference between get versus load, and I think another one, save versus update. Okay, so I'll show you. Mm, come on. Okay, guys, shall we start? The first thing I want to explain is mm, get method. We know what is meant by get method, right? And we have load method, which is an alternative for get, and we have save method that you know already, to save the elements, to save the objects in the database. And okay, so we have another alternative for save is update. Okay, we have update. So let's discuss, okay, get versus upload, I mean get versus load, and save versus update. After discussing these things, we can go with the Hibernate object states. Okay, so yes. Okay, first let me check with the database what are the things we have used on a deep tech. Okay. And we have employee table, select star from employee, just employee, okay, emp. Okay, so we have some values. Okay, we have some values here: employee name, employee city, and employee id. Okay, now, okay, if you want to change something in the employee, okay, if you want to add, I mean if you want to change something in the employee, then you can use update. Okay, you can use update generally. Okay, so tell me the process how you, I mean how you can change the city name. Okay, so I want to change the city name of the employee 4. Okay, I want to change the city name of the employee 4. So how to change the city name of the employee? Do you know? Mm. Yes, I want to change the city name of employee 4. So how to change the city name?
So using update,
How to use update? Okay,
up,
here.
update table, table name, set city name
No, no,
equal
no. I'm
to.
asking in Hibernate.
Okay, so Hibernate.
Okay, so I know you know about SQL. So here we can use something like update, update table name, right? Emp table set city equal to, okay, something like vskp, and where eid equal to 4. Okay, this is the thing. Okay, you can do it very easily. Okay, updated. Now you can fetch the values. Now vskp is updated. Okay, so the, I mean I know you can, so you can update the things with the sql for sure. Okay, so I want to update the city name by using the Hibernate. So how you are updating some values in the Hibernate? We are writing some details and so on, so right?
So update empe.
Yeah, tell me the query. I mean, tell me the query first. Okay, we have to write some query, right?
Yes, sir.
Query QU equal to session dot
Create query.
create query. Okay, where you okay, I'm writing somewhere else. Okay, give me a minute. Don't say. Okay, we have to write here. We have one session here. In the session I want to update the, okay, city name of employee 3. Okay, so how to update? So Kathan is saying, so we need a query QU equal to yes, okay, session dot create query. Okay, now what to do?
So update from emp
empty
e where
where
e dot city
we dot
equal to no sir set first we have to set e dot city and yes sir, set e dot city equal to
hmm,
so whatever the name then yes sir.
um, or something like this. Okay,
Where e dot
here e dot
eid equal to
id equal to the three the whole number we want to
4
update.
yes sir
Okay.
and then we have to set parameter for
Why? I'm not using any parameters, right? So I'm just passing the values. Okay.
okay
If you are using any parameters, then you have to use set parameter and everything. But here I'm directly writing the values. No need to
okay,
set the values.
okay sir
Okay. Now, okay. Now we can do one thing. Okay. Int st equal to okay. So qu dot execute update. Okay. So now you can print the number of how many number of lines is affected by using this particular syntax. Okay. Okay. Now you can run. So session dot okay get transaction we need to save right dot commit okay this after committing now you can write yes one employee is updated okay updated okay so that's why we got one okay if you want to see you can see here in the database okay so generally okay so John has Salur okay now you can see the John value okay now John has SLR okay we updated successfully but if you want to update one particular single value we are doing all this stuff right we are doing all this stuff so here okay I want to write in a different syntax okay I can write this thing in a different syntax okay no need to write all these things let's remove all these things okay here okay I mean, just remove the output statement also. Now here, okay, I'm creating one employee, okay, emp e1 equal to new emp. Okay, I'm creating one employee object. Okay, employee object. Now we are already having one employee ID, right? Set employee ID as we. I mean, so here you can set the value which you want to change. Okay, so here I want to change the okay city name of second one. Okay, so Joy has TPTY. Okay, Joy has TPTY. I want to change the okay city name of Joy. So here I'm using the primary key two. Two is our primary key, right? So here I'm passing two. Okay, set ID okay so here I want to update the value of John okay so here we can write city set city okay here I'm writing Tirupati okay here I'm writing Tirupati okay now okay here we can do one thing session dot okay it, session dot update okay session dot update e1 and if you want to give the name of the employee here you can give the name of the employee as well set name as name Joy Joy okay so here we can directly update the value like this okay you can run this command updated the value now you can check here okay check run this now you can see Joy has Tirupati okay no need of writing those hibernate query language if you are using update option okay so generally we have session.save no so okay if you use session.save here okay so instead of using update okay instead of using update if you write save okay it will definitely give you an error okay it will definitely give you an error do you know why this particular program now gives you an error for sure do you know the reason why this program will return an error to us any guess
so primary key already exists
yeah primary keys already existed in the database so that's why it will I mean it will raise an error for sure see okay duplicate entry 2 for the primary key okay so we have a one primary key but you are passing the duplicate value for the primary key so that's why it is raising an issue Okay, so here, okay, in this place, in this particular place, we can add update. We can use the update to update one particular value. Okay, instead of save, we can use the update to update one particular value. Okay, update will work only on, okay, update will work only on, okay, the data is already existed. Okay, if I pass 5 here, okay, if I pass 5, okay, 5 is not available in the database. Okay, now you can run this particular code. Okay, now this is showing an error because, okay, update 0, okay, actual row count is 0 because, okay, some issue, because, okay, the primary key is not found. Okay, so here, okay, we are unable to use the update option, right? But you can use another thing also. We have save or update option, save or update option as well. Okay, if the data is existed, okay, it is going to update. If the data is not update, I mean, if the data is not existed in the database, now it is going to store in the database. Okay, we can use save or update as well. Now you can see the value is up, I mean, saved. Okay, you can run this code. Now you can see we have 5 Tirupati Joy. Okay, the primary key is different. Okay, when you are using save or update, if the value is already existed, okay, it is going to update with the new values. If the value is not updated, okay, so here I want to change the name Joy to Bhaskar. Okay, I want to change the name Joy to Bhaskar. Now it will update. You can see it is going to update the value. See, update employee set so and so. Okay, now you can see here. Okay, Bhaskar value is updated, 5 Tirupati Bhaskar. Okay, so when you're using save or update option, okay, it works on both way. I mean, it works as both things. Okay, so if the data is existed, it works as a update. If the data is not existed, okay, it will work as a save option. Okay, so we have three different methods here: save, save or update to set the values, to insert the values into the database. Okay, guys, is this clear?
Yes,
To
sir. So that
insert
we
the,
no need to any query for
no,
updating
no
or
need
save
of
any
query
value.
to update some value. Okay, you can use this particular syntax. No?
So,
But
sir,
yeah, we
for
have to use the
retrieval,
query, but in a different syntaxes. Okay, if you want to
okay,
use
sir.
the, okay, but in this simple, I mean, this is very simple program. This is very simple data, na? So no need to write the query for these things. Okay, you can upload, you can update like this. Hmm. And you are saying something, Pranshu.
Sir, for retrieval of data.
Yeah, we have, actually we have a get method, no? Okay, we have a get method to retrieve the data, and
Okay, sir.
here we have load method. Okay, we have a load method as well. Okay, I'll show you the difference. Okay, so I think, guys, did you understand this one? Save or update and save, the difference between save versus update versus save or
Yes,
update.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
okay, now let's understand what is meant by get and load. What is the difference between get method and load method? Okay, so I don't want to remove the transaction. Okay, okay, so here, okay, so I want to retrieve one data, okay, from the employee, okay, where we can expect some employee object. Okay, session dot get, okay, the employee class. Okay, we are retrieving, okay, the user id 1. Okay, the employee who is having user id 1 and the primary id, I mean, the primary key 1. Okay, so here we can write the command. Okay, now this particular thing will display you. Okay, so it is showing, okay, one command, it is deploying one command. Okay, and we can use this particular thing if you want to print the values. Okay, you can print the values. Okay, now we are printing the values also. Okay, you can you have to observe one thing here. Okay, when we are not using the employee object, okay, we read the employee values, but we are not printing, or we are not using the employee values that we get from the database. Okay, we have e1. Okay, are you using e1 here? Okay, we are not printing the e1, we are not returning the e1, and we are not retrieving any particular details from the e1, right? We are not using e1. Okay, but still this particular Hibernate is retrieving the details, but still it is retrieving the details. But when you are using load option here, okay, when you are using load option, okay, load option, okay, okay, instead of get you can use the load. Okay, load can be used to, okay, you can see the difference. Okay, see, okay, Hibernate is not fetching the data. Okay, Hibernate is not fetching the data because you are not using the E1, right? You are not using the E1, so that's why I'm not fetching the data. Okay, you can, I mean, I will fetch the data if you want to use. Okay, if you don't want to use the data, why should I fetch, right? What is the purpose of fetching the data if you are not using the data? So that's why we can use the load method. Okay, so here we can decrease the time of waiting time na. Okay, so if we are not using employee one anywhere in our program, okay, that's why load method is not loading the employee one into our Java application. It is not communicating with the database even. But if you use E1 here, okay, if you try to print E1, then it will retrieve the data for sure. Now you can see it is retrieving the data. Okay, so the main difference between get and load is, okay, so load, okay, load is a proxy object. Okay, load is a proxy object. That means, okay, load will load the object, or load will load the data on demand. Okay, if you are not using the data, okay, load is not going to retrieve the data for sure. But if you are using get instead of load, okay, you can use or you can ignore. Okay, so you can do anything with it, but still the get method is going to, okay, retrieve the data. Okay, but when you are using the load method, okay, the load won't work for the, okay, unused values, unused objects. Okay, so if you comment out this particular output line, if you comment out this line, that means we are not using employee one anywhere in our program. Okay, so load method is not going to load the values into our Java application. See, nothing, no query is executing, because you are not using the, I mean, you are not using the object which I retrieved. So why should I get? What is the purpose of retrieving the data if you are not using that, right? So this is the load load value. Okay, get versus load. Get retrieves the object, load retrieves the proxy object. Load retrieves the proxy object. If you are not using the object, it won't load, it won't retrieve the data. Okay, so it retrieves the data when you use it anywhere in the program. Okay, you can print it, you can return to someone, you can extract some data. Okay, you could do anything, but you have to do some action, then only I can retrieve the data. If you are not using, if you are not printing the data of your, if you are not working with the data, why should I load? So that's what load is saying for us. Okay, so this is the main difference between get version and load. Guys, is this clear? Get versus load.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yeah, I think these are the things which you need to know in the Hibernate. Okay, so we can wind up the session after completion of the object states in the Hibernate. Okay, we are having different types of object states in the Hibernate. Okay, we can discuss the theory. After discussing the theory, I will show you how we are creating, how we are returning, so and so. Okay, so yeah, that's the end of Hibernate. Okay, tomorrow we can have the discussion on, okay, so sir told na using Lombok. I will tell you what is the Lombok. Okay, Lombok is generally, okay, so here we are writing, you know, we are writing getters and setters here, right? We are writing getters and setters, no? So okay, no need to write the getters and setters every time. Okay, you can use one Lombok annotation. We have a lot of annotations in the Lombok. Okay, by importing one annotation, you can have all the getter setters in one particular line only. Okay, so don't worry, I will tell you. Okay, I will explain the things. Okay, we can work with the Lombok and we can work with the log4j also. Okay, that means the loggers. We can avoid the output statement without, I mean, by using the loggers. Okay, so I will show you, don't worry. Okay, so after completion of that, we can start our project. And tomorrow I'm not going to explain the project, because you know, tomorrow is a lab day. We can have simple programs like establish one to many relationship, establish inheritance, okay, implement inheritance. Okay, I will give you three programs on I mean, either one to many or many to one. on inheritance, and I think on embeddable classes, classes. Okay, so I will give you the things. Okay, so we can practice the basic programs in the Hibernate first, then we can start our project. Okay, yeah. So yes, let's start with the object states. Okay, we have generally Hibernate life cycle. Okay, we have Hibernate life cycle. So I mean, I can write something like, yeah, Hibernate life cycle. Life cycles means what, ma? What is meant by life cycle? In the human life cycle, we have so many states. We have a childhood, we have adulthood. Okay, we have senior citizen. Oh, we have so many different words. I don't know actually. Okay, so life cycle means, okay, the stages in the process. Okay, the stages in the life of an object. Okay, in Hibernate we can either create a new object, or we can retrieve the object. We can retrieve the some object from the database. Okay, either we can insert the data, I mean, in the form of object, or we can retrieve the data in the form of object, right? When you are having an object in the Hibernate, okay, that particular object is going through the various steps. Okay, object of a Hibernate is going through the different steps. Okay, so we have 4 different steps in the Hibernate life cycle. Okay, that means object is going through the 4 different stages. Okay, object is going through 4 different stages. Okay, so I'll write something like, in Hibernate we can either create new object to insert the data, or we can retrieve one object from DB. We can retrieve the data in the form of object or anything, okay, from the DB. Okay, so these objects in the Hibernate, these objects are going through going, going through different stages. Okay? These objects are going through different stages. Okay, so any guess what are the different stages of Hibernate life cycle? Anyone? The first stage, any guess? So we have something called transient state, and something called persistence. I hope I can write the spelling persistent, PRST status. Okay, and the third one is detached, I think, detached, something like removed. Okay, we have 4 different stages of an object. Okay, transient state, persistent state, detached state, and removed state. Okay, so generally transient state. Okay, the transient state is a first stage of a object. Okay, first stage of the object when we initiate an object for the entity. When you are initiating an object for the entity or poser or class. Okay, when you are creating a object for a class, okay, using the new operator, that means, okay, that particular stage is a transient state. Okay, so here you can see emp e2 equal to new emp. Okay, new emp. Okay, so where this particular object is in a transient state, that means if you write any changes now, if you write any changes to this object, okay, that won't store in the database for sure. Okay, you can add any data, you can delete any data, you can update any data. Okay, that won't affect in the database for sure, because this particular object right now in a transient state. Okay, so here, okay, so I want to store some data. Okay, I want to store some data in this particular thing. Okay, I'm adding some 6. Okay, e2 dot set name as, okay, something like Anu, e2 dot set city as something like, Delhi. Okay, and remove these things. Okay, still the object e2, still the object is in, okay, transient state. Okay, transient state. Okay, because, okay, we are not storing this particular object. Okay, if you want to store the object in the database, okay, if you want to store the object in the database, that means if you are using session.save e2, okay, then now the particular object e2 is in a persistent state. Persistent is nothing but a saving. Okay, persistent state. Okay, when you are saving one particular object in the database, then the object is in a persistent state. Okay, persistent state. Okay, so here, okay, here you can save the object. Okay, let's see, you can save the object. So object is saved, you can see here in the database. So we have 6. Okay, 6, Delhi and Anu. Okay, we have the values. Okay, so this is the transient, I mean persistent state. Okay, if you do any things, okay, if you perform any changes in the persistent state, that means those changes, okay, those changes will be affected in the, okay, database. Okay, those changes will be affected in the database for sure. Okay, for suppose, so here I'm writing something like save or update. Okay, save or update. Okay, here I'm writing something like set city name, set city name, set, yes, city, yeah, sorry, e1 dot, sorry, e2 dot set city. Okay, here I'm writing something like, Chennai. Okay, do you know, I mean, so what will be the output, what will be the thing that is going to store in the database? What is going to happen in this case? What is the city of Anu in the database? Either Delhi or Chennai? Sorry,
Chennai.
Chennai. Delhi or Chennai? We are updating before Chennai. We are saving the details before Chennai only, right? What will happen?
Delhi.
Yeah,
Delhi.
Delhi, Delhi. Okay. Now, no, it's not actually. Definitely, it is going to be Chennai. Now you can see employee value is updated. Okay. Now you can run this code. Okay, so Anu is in Chennai right now because, okay, we are still in a persistent state. Okay, we are still in the persistent state. Okay, right now object e2 in the persistent state. Now if you perform any change, okay, if you perform any change to the object in the persistent state, that particular change will be affected on database for sure. Okay, that change is going to be, that change is going to be saved on the database for sure when the object is in the persistent mode. Okay, so after persistent mode we have something like detached mode. Okay, so if I write this thing, okay, if I write this thing, okay, so if I change this to something like, Bangalore. Okay, now what will be the output, ma? What is the city name of Anu? Can you guess? What is the city name of Anu right now?
Chennai, sir, because
Delhi.
you are not updated.
No, I don't know. You can tell one thing. Chennai, Delhi or Bangalore?
Chennai, because I think you never updated to Delhi.
Okay, you're
Delhi.
saying Chennai, Delhi. Okay. Chennai definitely not because we are having the Delhi, no? So the thing is going to be stored in the Delhi. Now you can see here. Okay, Anu is in Delhi right now. Okay, but Bengaluru is not affected. Why? Why Bengaluru is not storing in the database? Why Bengaluru is not storing?
So transaction has been closed.
Yes, when your transaction is completed, when your transaction is completed, okay, that by default the object is going to the detached state. Yeah, when you are completing your transaction, when you are closed your session, okay, when you are deleting something, okay, now, okay, that particular thing is going to, okay, store, I mean, is not going to store in the database because we completed the transaction, or we closed the session. Okay, so the now right now our object E2 in the detached mode. Okay, right now our object E2 in the detached mode. Okay, so detached mode is something like, I mean, after closing the session, or after committing the transaction, after clearing the cache, by defaultly object is thrown into the detached state. By defaultly object is thrown into the detached state. Okay, now we have the final state. Okay, the final state is nothing but a removed state. If you delete the object, okay, if you delete the object, okay, session dot delete, okay, object. Now, okay, can you guess the output? What will be the output? I am deleting E2. Okay, what will be the output? The object is going to remove. Okay, the object is right now object is in the remove thing. Okay, now you can see the output. Okay, we don't have, okay, object here. We don't have Anu because we deleted it. Okay, we deleted it. That means right now object is in the removed state. Object right now, object in removed state. Okay, so these are the, okay, different types, or different stages of the objects in the Hibernate. Okay, is this clear? The four stages. The first stage, okay, when you are creating the object, okay, when you are retrieving the data from the database, now that particular object is in the transient state. Okay, when you are saving or updating the, okay, when you are saving or updating the object, now that, I mean, the particular object is in the persistent state. Okay, after closing the connection, after committing the transaction, the object is thrown into the detached state. Object is thrown into detached state. Okay, so if you delete the object, that means the object is in removed state. Okay, the object is in removed state. Okay, these are the different stages of object. Okay, let's write some theory. Okay, let's write some theory in the notepad to understand. Okay, what is meant by transient state? The transient state of an object is the first stage, or first state, you can say. Okay, when we initiate object, when we initiate an object for a class or a table, for a poso, anything for a class, okay, that object must be in a, I mean, using new operator, then the object is in, by default, not then, by default object is in transient state. By default the object is in transient state. Okay, this is the transient state of an object. Now coming to the persistence. Okay, please tell me what is meant by persistent state of an object. What is meant by persistent state of an object? We have this, no? Persistent state.
Saving state.
Yeah, I mean, I explained in that way, no, but we need some vocabulary. So we can say something like, once the object is connected to session of Hibernate to, I mean, what you're saying is correct, to save in DB. Okay, then we can say the object is in, the object is in persistent state. Okay, then the object is in persistent state. Okay, now coming to the detached state. Okay, coming to the detached state. Okay, what is the detached?
When the session is complete,
Yeah,
then the
after closing the connection, after closing the session, after committing the transaction, okay, the object is thrown into detached mode. A detached state. Now removed. What is meant by removed? When when the object is deleted from the database, that means that is removed. Is deleted from DB. Okay, when the object is deleted from the DB, okay, that is in then is removed state. Okay, basically it is the last state. It is last state of an object. Then it is last state of an object. Okay, we have transient state of an object, persistent state of an object, detached state of an object, and removed state of an object. Okay, so these are the different states of an object that we have in Hibernate. Okay, guys, is this clear?
Yes.
yes, sir.
Actually, these things, okay, these life cycle we have to explain before discussing all these things. But okay, if we explain this thing before discussing save or update or something, okay, I think you won't understand, no? So that's why I explain this thing after discussing all the methods. Okay, if I explain this thing, okay, before explaining, before starting our saving, updating, before knowing all these things, okay, you feel something like hectic, you feel somewhat weird. So that's why I explain this thing after completion of all the things in a Hibernate. Okay, so maybe some trainers will explain this thing before starting the Hibernate practical session, but I think it won't work. Okay, so it will definitely hits our mind. So that's why, okay, I explained this particular topic after completion of Hibernate. Okay, probably this is my way of approach. Okay, so if you are having any doubts in the Hibernate, you can ping me. Okay, otherwise we can wind up the session for today. Tomorrow we can have more interesting things. Tomorrow we can schedule the project. Okay, we can write the abstract. Okay, tomorrow we have to write the abstract. Okay, so tomorrow we can prepare the abstract. Okay. Hey, I forgot to take attendance. Thank you, Nishant. Hmm. We can discuss Lombok. We can discuss, something like loggers, log4j. It's okay. Okay. Nikhil absent again. Usually absent. Sandeep. Sandeep. Do we have Sandeep?